8:34 News and Views on Salam Media. Our next guest is Zakhele Madela. He is a social and energy expert at the South African Energy Forum, and he is going to be talking with us about figures released by Eskom about the solar surge in South Africa. What does that exactly mean for you and I? Does this then suggest that more and more people are going the solar route? Does it also then suggest that people who are on solar power will be able to possibly sell back their excess energy into the grid? How is that all going to work, and will it be viable for them at all? And also, most importantly, what's going to happen with that excess energy? Is it going to go back into the grid, and are we going to have less load shedding intervals? Well, here is the expert, and that, of course, is you, Zakhele Madela. Very good morning to you. Welcome to the program.
Good morning to you, and good morning to the listeners.
Nice to have you on the show, and Eskom in the news once again. They're always in the news, mainly because of the rolling blackouts. But this time around, I'm hoping that this report regarding releasing of figures about solar surge in South Africa does bode good news for all of us South Africans.
Let me put it this way. I would say it should be good news for us, but the problem is there is no proper coordination of what is available at what time, what can we capitalize on at what time. Hence, you see even the report, Eskom trying to do the estimate without necessarily consulting with those who are the proponents of photovoltaic solar. The natural thing to have done would have been to go to the Photovoltaic Association and try to get these figures. But yeah, if everything is done properly, it will be good news, but only for a defined period, because solar cannot carry you for 24 hours.
So where do we stand then? So what is the point of Eskom then having released these figures? You're also saying that the label is deceptive. Unpack that for us further.
Say that again. I'm saying the label is
Deceptive. It's not correct. It's not a true. It's not a true find. It's not a true picture of the findings and all the figures that they have released.
Yeah, look, now there is disparities from the main proponent of solar PV, people like Chris Yelland and all of them. Some of them saying that this 4,400 figure of PV solar includes the public bids by the Department of Mineral Resources and Energy, which tends to be huge solar farms of 75 megawatts, 105 megawatts, add them all up. But Eskom says no. We just measured what the demand has been in the substation when there is less cloud and when there is more cloud, considering that the whatever the parameters that dictate to the demand are the same. In other words, they measure exactly the same time on the day when there's more cloud, on the day when there's less cloud. For me, I just think that Eskom should not be leading this calculation. They should rather consult the people who physically have these things installed. Like, for instance, to give an example, if you have it installed there in studio, you should be knowing what figure you submit to South African Photovoltaic Solar so that yours will be counted. And those who don't submit, they should just not be counted. But it's quite sad that we are now bombarded with conflicting information. No, it's easy to do this, but as I keep saying to you, solar will only carry you for 6 hours, no more than 6 hours in any given day.
Zakhele Madela, you are you are an energy expert. What do you believe is going to be the answer to all of our woes here in South Africa regarding energy? I mean, it's really given the economy such a bad knock that people are really struggling to get their businesses back together again. How do we actually get past all of this bad news regarding rolling blackouts? Because at some point there has to be some form of saving grace. What do you believe is the answer?
I believe the answer lies with the main three key departments in the country, plus those people who also want to participate in the market. So, top of the list, this really lies with the Department of Public Enterprises, where Eskom is to say, I'm able to do one, two, three, I'm not able to do four, five, six. And I open this thing up for the private player. So now it's known how far Eskom can go. Then you have a Department of Mineral Resources and Energy that is encouraging the public bid. It's going to take the 456 that Eskom said they can't do, and it's going to coordinate that very well and inform the private sector that you can plug this gap. And then National Treasury is going to have to calculate for how long, what support mechanisms they extend to these people for the benefit of the country. The problem, and then the private sector itself, it has to be patriotic enough to say we are here to make money, but as well as to be part of the solution. What's happening is all these four key stakeholders are not talking to each other. And one day we hear from Department of Mineral Resources and Energy. One day we hear from the Minister of Treasury saying he's going to give the bailout to Eskom. One day we have the Minister of Electricity having all these conflicting messages. There is a lack of coordination as if we don't know what to do. So if we align ourselves, we have a better coordination. The private sector would know that it is invited to plug the gap. I don't know, but we can do this for them if they are unable to do it. It's so sad that we keep creating a problem that is not there. As we see here, people should be knowing what are the opportunities in South Africa to come and plug those gaps, whether with gas to power, with nuclear, with solar, with wind, and what's happening with strengthening the business case of solar to be able to cope with the grid as well as wind. We're not having this. No one is solving the problem. Everybody's just speaking in silos and create a problem for us.
Zakhele, for the first time in all of this drama, the Eskom drama, have I heard someone that has simplified the situation and has given us a solution? If just all the parties could listen, hear each other, get around a table, listen to what each entity is able to offer and put on the table, I think we'll be on the right footing here in South Africa and we can then move forward in the right direction. Why is it not happening?
I don't know. The Minister of Electricity tried it in his early days when he started. You would have known he invited the private sector. He almost became a Minister of Private Sector, and I really applaud him for that. But the question that we need to ask ourselves, is private sector really honest about being part of the solution, or they are just enjoying the vulnerability of South Africans to use this energy crisis as a tool for regime change? The private sector must ask themselves, are they the corporate citizens of this country? Do they respect the outcomes of democracy? To say, once a political party like the ANC has been voted into power, there's very little you can do in that 5 years. Just come and be part of the solution. But the private sector is operating in an environment where it continues to point fingers on a democratically voted government. That is all we ever hear from the private sector. You, government, are not good enough. Give this market to us. Then they must participate in the national election because we give a mandate to the governing party, and the governing party has invited them through the Minister of Electricity. Instead of them honoring the advice, they sit here and keep pointing fingers. I'm yet to see one grouping of private sector that says this cannot carry on. here are the solutions, here is what we propose that the government does, and then we will plug the gap. No, they speak in the context of the government completely useless, hope that yet the numbers coming from Eskom, they point to the contrary that we need Eskom because the cost of producing energy at Eskom is the cheapest. They don't want to accept that. They don't want to acknowledge that. As we sit here today, Eskom is still producing more than 90% of electricity that we need in this country. And it's the cheapest. Will the private sector accept that and say that you are still providing 90% and you are the cheapest? How can we have a better conversation in people? The private sector has adopted the stance of using energy crisis as a tool for regime change. They are completely absent and it's not helping anyone.
So you're convinced this is all about getting the ANC out of power, and then
Why
doing
do
their
you
thing.
say that again?
You are absolutely convinced that this is a tactic to get the ANC out of power come the 2024 elections. It's all about getting rid of the ANC. Is that your firm belief?
If it wasn't, can any one of us tell us what has been the solution from the private side? Who are they engaging with? What good have they picked up at Eskom? What disadvantages have they picked up where they can plug the gap? No, they're never solution driven. They are always, this weakens the government, pump the information in the ears of South Africans that the electricity market must be taken away from Eskom. At the same time, they want Eskom to build a 210 billion rand strengthening of the grid. At the same time, they do agree that if they were to build their own electricity transmission system, their IPPs will not be good enough. No, they are playing politics, pure politics. The evidence on the ground has already demonstrated itself and manifested itself in the form of Germany, in the form of all these nations that have gone back to coal. You will never hear them telling us about why would countries like Germany, now they are reviving the nuclear power plants in Germany and they've been burning coal as we speak. They will never say, we as South Africans, we are attempting to do something that has not been done before in any other country. That conversation doesn't come from them because it's not the conversation that they want South Africans to be familiar with. This government is really, really having it hard. And it's not helping that the government itself has got a long history of recruiting the people who are good at what they are doing. They deploy the people there who come up with a report like this, which has already been dismissed by the very proponent of solar to say, you've taken our solar industry, you've completely misrepresented it. It's because somebody inside Eskom is just not good enough to be able to do a decent calculation of this. So basically, the parties must talk to each other. We must free South Africans. We must provide power 24/7. We must stop playing games.
Zakhele, you are the social and energy expert at the South African Energy Forum. Wouldn't this be your role, the forum's role, to bring the different parties together and get them to start talking? And let's get action. Let's not be all, it's just talking heads all the time, different people saying different things, different people really protecting their own agendas. I should imagine that you, as a South African Energy Forum, should be putting your foot down, get the different role players around the table, and make things happen. You need to get things started, put fire under everybody's feet, and let's get this country back on its feet and back where we belong.
Thank you so much. We've already done that. We continue writing reports and send them to the Minister of Electricity. We've got we're participating in two main WhatsApp groups where there's ministers, and we even give the information to the economic freedom fighters. However, when you keep on making the information available and you're not being invited, it gets so difficult. So just to give you context, we're gonna be coming up with this so-called transmission company. You understand the transmission company that's going to be separated out of Eskom.
Mm.
We are already warning in South African Energy Forum to say, just level the playing field, open up this thing for public comment, and show the stakeholders what exactly is inside this. Because if you do that, we will demonstrate that the establishment of an independent transmission system market operator company or the transmission company actually favors Eskom. I don't know if you can grasp it. The splitting of Eskom into three and taking out a transmission company, if you level the playing field, it favors Eskom because it says my coal production costs are 43 cents a kilowatt hour. You've just made me compete with someone that's got a tendency of charging 220 cents a kilowatt hour. Everybody must pay for the transmission, for the transmission of their electricity. If you're producing it in the Northern Cape, you pay the same price. And if you are signing with Saline, are you signing over 24 hours or are you only signing when there's only 6 days of solar? If you're only signing 6 hours of solar, 6 hours of solar. If you're only signing only for 6 hours of solar, then I come as Eskom and say, I'm going to plug the gap when the solar is not available. The splitting of Eskom favors Eskom if the playing field is level. But we know the playing field is not level. So we have been at pain making sure that we poke our nose into that. We say you will not be able to conclude this thing until you take South Africans. So we are part of the solution to answer your question. We've even written to the Competition Commission at the PTIC opposing the Angel Vivo deal to say it should be Petro SA. You need Petro SA to say we presented our offer, it was not good enough. When we asked the Petro SA and Central Energy Fund, they told us that they had not been invited. So we have taken the matter to the DTIC and we were told we must take it to the Competition Tribunal. We've even come up with Economic Intervention Forum of South Africa, where we are writing articles. We send them to the EFF, we send them to the ANC, we send them to the Action SA. The only party that we don't send these things to is the Democratic Alliance because we just think that it's an apartheid party and we don't have time for those people.
Okay, we're going to have to leave it there. We're going to try and pick up on this conversation in a couple of weeks' time and see what progress you've made. Thank you indeed for your input regarding this matter. Sensitive indeed, and really very annoying to know that, there's hidden agendas here and people are not coming to the table. But we will pick up with you again in the future. Thank you for being on the show this morning. It is exactly 8:52 a.m. Standing by to bring us the news this morning, a little earlier than normal, is our correspondent, Zai Jadwit.
With so